All right, well, we'll get started. We're ready to go. So this is it. This is the last one that we're gonna be hosting for a little while, at least. But it's been awesome. Just what we've learned, like just us, because Andy, Ronnie, and I, we meet often, and we're trying to prepare for these, and we're always going back and forth, arguing. I feel like more than we should be, but also a lot of good time. Like, we're always laughing too, but it's really fun preparing for these. And you guys brought a lot to this webinar this time, the last 3 weeks. Your participation has been outstanding, and it's just really been fun for us. So we've learned a ton. So the first week back in November, we talked about finding our why and goal setting. And then we moved on to, we did visualization, and Andy walked us through like how powerful our brain is. And we did breathing the last time, and how to do it and how to use your diaphragm. And my goal was to actually do it every day since then. So every day I wake up, it's part of my early morning routine. So it takes 5 minutes to do it. And it's been very beneficial to do like that diaphragmatic breathing. And so today we're going to talk about, and I've really been excited for this because I feel like this really gets into the batter's box when you're hitting, or maybe as some pitchers can relate to it too, but the mindful courage that you have to have. And I know there's a lot of new people on, a lot of new faces I see. So we're going to go through and introduce ourselves. So Ronnie, if you don't mind introducing yourself.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be here. Like Adam said, I've myself have learned a lot, and I've been fortunate to have been coaching for 30 years, and been blessed to have coached all different types of kids, from different talent levels to different mindsets to different cultures, and it's really been a blessing for me. And I played a couple of years, but had to hang them up quicker than I wanted to. But I've really been blessed with the coaching part of it, and have had a lot of mentors, and they've helped shape me and correct me and criticize me, and it's all been just I'm so blessed. So, and then I've also been fortunate enough to have written a book, put a lot of time and effort into them. I was really proud of the fact that I got it done, and just tried to put all the things that I've learned over the years to hopefully help and impact kids. So I'm happy to be here, and I'm excited to learn more.
Yeah, Ronnie, thank you. And I haven't mentioned the last 3 weeks, but I actually read Ronnie's book, and the insight that's in there. Obviously, Ronnie's been a huge mentor for me ever since 2007 when he was the hitting coordinator in Cincinnati. But if you guys have a chance, it'd be awesome. Pick that up and learn a lot of Ronnie's insight. But yeah, thank you, Ronnie. Andy, do you want to introduce yourself to the new people?
Yeah, my name's Andy Pierce. I am currently a performance expert for the United States Army. And most of my time at work, I spend with Special Forces units as well as U.S. Army Rangers. And so I help train them to control their minds so that they can perform their jobs most effectively and with consistency. So I have a lot of fun working with those guys. I also have a master's degree in performance and sports psychology. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Like both Adam and Ronnie have said, I've learned a ton from them, and we've had some real rich discussions about, top quality performances, and it's been fun. I'm excited to chat with you guys today.
Andy, thank you so much. And everything that you bring to the table is essential for what we're doing. And for those that don't know me, I'm Adam Rosales. I get to play 11 years in the major leagues, and all the other 14 years professionally, and just all the great coaches that I had and all the great teammates that I get to learn from. It's just a blessing to go through that experience, be a part of that journey. And I'm proud to say that I'm a graduate of Western Michigan. I started in 2001 and graduated in 2016. So to young kids out there, you don't want to take that road, but I got it done. I did some online courses and stuff, and I got it done. And I'm proud of myself for doing that. So we're going to start right off the bat with a guy that pretty admirable human being. And I've always been a fan of him, super talented. Andy, did you want to introduce the video, or we'll just play it?
Yeah. as you go through, like listening to Will Smith in this section, pay attention to how he views himself and his success. So as he's talking, pay attention to that as we go through.
Very cool. Yeah, and it's about a 2-minute long video. So, but it's all very inspirational stuff.
You don't set out to build a wall. You don't start there. You say, I'm going to lay this brick as perfectly as a brick can be laid. And you do that every single day. And soon you have a wall. And soon you have a wall. From there, you do what you need to do. Greatness is not this wonderful, esoteric, elusive, God-like feature that only the special among us will ever take. You know, it's something that truly exists in all of us. It's very simple. This is what I believe, and I'm willing to die for it. Yeah. Period. I've never really viewed myself as particularly talented. Where I excel is ridiculous, sickening work ethic. You know, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working. Being realistic is the most commonly traveled road to mediocrity. Why would you be realistic? What's the point of being realistic? Yeah, I'm going to do it. It's done. It's already done. The second I decide it's done, it's already done. It's just, now we just got to wait for y'all to see. Only thing that I see that is distinctly different about me is I'm not afraid to die on a treadmill. You might have more talent than me. You might be smarter than me. But if we get on the treadmill together, right, there's two things. You're getting off first, or I'm going to die. It's really that simple.
Andy, do you want to recap that?
Yeah, I mean, it's such a powerful thing, right? And if you notice, it's Will Smith over time. And so there's no wonder that he's been so successful, because he's able to have so much courage in just everything that he does. And he attributes his success not to this God-given talent, but this work ethic that he has adopted, and it's taken him this far. And so having courage and putting in the hard work is where success comes from.
And I like how you said, like, Andy, this is kind of like Will Smith over time. Like, even you can see like a young Will Smith, but the message is still the same. And I think of like really good major league hitters, you know, and they, like, you look at their batting stance from when they're younger to when they're older. It's like and not that the batting stance is everything, but they make really small adjustments. They stay true to what they know. I don't know. It's kind of similar to being constant, right? So, Ronnie, do you want to talk a little bit about? Well, let's talk about what to expect first in this last session of the mental game. So we're going to talk about what is courage, and that's actually Andy surfing his big wave out there in Hawaii. And he'll talk a little bit about that, the courage of surfing. We're also going to talk about how finding the why, visualization, breathing, how that all leads to this courage. And then the last one is most powerful, I believe, is how to prime your courage. So, Ronnie, you could take it over.
Okay. Yeah, you know, we've been talking a lot about this, and I thought, you know, a lot of it this morning. And I think why players don't exercise courage, I think it's scary. At whatever level you're at, it's scary. You know, whether it's the fear of failure, the fear of getting benched, the fear of letting somebody down, or just the fear of what if. And Andy came up with this little tidbit on the front end of it, and I love it. And it's so true, because fear does trump courage, and we've got to be aware of that, and we've got to, you know, embrace it and try to turn it in our direction. You know, we talk about they don't do it because baseball is supposed to be fun and not serious. Well, I think a lot of people are serious because of how hard they work and they want to succeed in it. You know, again, don't understand the concept, and then don't know the how or don't know the why. And I think all of us have, you know, all different types of courages that we have to tap into in every part of our life. So I think it's something that this can benefit for a lot of us, even myself, and learning how to be more courageous in different things that I do.
That's great, Ronnie. And Andy's actually going to talk us through what his courage is when he's surfing a little bit.
Yeah. So there's a picture of a wave I caught about 1.5 years ago, and it's on Oahu, Hawaii, at a place called Waimea Bay. And what you don't see in this photo is probably 10 seconds before this photo. And that is when you go to catch a wave like this, it's this open ocean giant swell. And so the thing's almost as tall as this when it comes in. But what you can't see is that it goes to the right as far as you can see, and it goes to the left as far as you can see. So it looks like this giant wall that's going both ways forever coming at you, and it's moving fast. And so when you catch a wave like this, what happens is you're sitting there, you see it start to form and come, and you start paddling out towards it, and you're adjusting so that you can be in the right spot to then flip around and paddle your heart out to try and catch it. And so there's that moment when you turn around, and in that moment it takes a lot of courage to do it, because as soon as you flip around to go, you're paddling as hard as you can, and the decision has already been made. And so in this moment, by far the scariest and most the part that I need the most courage is that point when I flip around and go to catch it. And so it takes, no matter how many times I've done it, no matter how many waves I've caught around this size, it takes a lot of courage to make that decision and then go.
And I think you're just courageous for being out there with the sharks. That's why I don't go surfing. I said, forget that.
Yeah.
But I mean, you look at that big swell behind you, man. I know that's heavy water. I mean, I've been in small waves that just tumble me, and there's no. And I've actually hit the sand before, and I know like some places you go, like the reef is pretty shallow, which is also another risky thing to do, right? So Ronnie, do you want to define what courage? Looking it up, what courage is?
Yes, it's the ability to do something that frightens you, or having strength in the face of pain or grief, mental or moral strength to venture, persevere, and withstand danger, fear, or difficulty. And like I said earlier, I think each one of us in our everyday life, we have points where we have to show courage in different aspects of our life. And I think so many times, I know from my personal experience, you fight through things and you just find that courage in spite of whatever's going to happen. You just do it. And that's why I love talking about courage, because a lot of times we just do it out of sheer grit.
That's right. I mean, and it's pretty amazing, like looking, like obviously when you think of courage, you think of passion. And when you think of passion, you think of like your heart and how much of an impact that has on those moments of courage that you have. And obviously looking back at the origin of the word is pretty cool. That's where it comes from. The Latin root of it means heart. And then obviously it progresses to courage or whatever. And then courage is now the modern day term, but it starts with heart. That's pretty neat. I want to tell you, so I might have told the story to a couple people already on here, but so Coach Bob Beauprez is my freshman high school baseball coach at Maine South High School in Park Ridge, Illinois, just right outside Chicago. And I was actually like worried that I wouldn't make the team. I just didn't know my competition. There's like 150 kids trying out for this. And I was, really heart beating, a lot of adrenaline. But then a week later, after I made the team, Coach Beauprez comes up to me and he says, I want to give you the 3 C's, and that's confidence, courage, and concentration. And I liked how he put courage in the middle too. But as a high school player, I'm like, courage? That's a big word. Like, why do I need courage? But that stuck with me from high school, when I went to Western Michigan, all the way through pro ball to the major leagues. That was pretty special. And it was kind of funny because I took that home that day. I'm like, Dad, Coach Beauprez just gave me the 3 C's. And he goes, Coach Beauprez? That's the guy that cut your brother Will 2 years ago from the team. I'm like, yeah, but I still love him, you know? But that's Coach Beauprez. And it stuck with me until this day. I'm a big fan of him. So we're going to move on. And, wait, first of all, I think, Ronnie, I wanted you to share that story that you told us, but that moment of courage that you had.
Yeah, probably the most defining moment in my career, where I had to really show courage. I had just gotten the job with the Reds. I was the hitting coordinator, and we're in Sarasota, Florida, and we're doing our organizational meeting. So everybody's there, and we all have to give our spiel or our philosophy on what we're teaching. So we're in this big room, and everybody's sitting around, and all the tables are in it like a rectangular shape. So, people are moving the table so people can get in, and so they end up closing it. So they say, Ronnie, it's your turn. So I'm trying to find a way to get into the middle of the room, and can't do it. So all of a sudden I just dropped to my knees and I crawl under the table and grab my bat, and I started wailing away. But in that moment, it was like, you know what? Because my heart was beating so fast, and I was really nervous about it. And I said, okay, it's either now or never. So I just started just with as much passion as I had, and I started giving it to them, everything that I believed in, and with a lot of conviction. And as I'm looking around the room, I'm seeing people that I had grown up watching on TV: Ken Griffey Sr., Eric Davis, Rick Burleson. And it was just an unbelievable position that I was in. But I just had to find that moment of courage and just go and do it. And pretty big moment in my career.
Yeah, that's not easy to do. I mean, speaking in front of people is not the easiest thing to do. No, thanks for sharing that, Ronnie. That's a cool story. So let's go on. Andy, if you want to introduce Michael Johnson.
Yeah, so this is a clip of Michael Johnson and how he used courage for his advantage, and he experienced some physiological or he had a physiological experience when he was about to run. And so when we watch this video, pay attention to how he viewed and interpreted his this experience right before he ran. Go ahead and play it.
Feel when you got in the blocks? I mean, if you didn't do it, as was pointed out last night, some people would have said, maybe yourself included, that you failed. As cruel and unreasonable as that might be, this is what you came here to do, and in less than 20 seconds, that was going to be decided. Was your heart pounding?
Definitely. I was nervous, and when I'm nervous, I'm comfortable. I mean, if I'm not nervous and I'm uncomfortable, so I felt I was in my comfort zone because I was nervous, but I felt like as far as for me personally, I felt like I had achieved what I really wanted, and that was to know what it feels like to be an Olympic gold medalist. And I felt like I had achieved that on Monday, but I wanted something bigger. I wanted to make history, and I wanted to have my spot in history for track and field. And but getting into the blocks, I told myself, you have an Olympic gold medal in the 400, but that's not the one you want because of what happened in '92. The 200 was the one that I wanted, and I said, I'm going to go out there and get it today.
Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, so that video is so powerful, and there's so much we can take from it. But the point that I think we want to focus on is how he interpreted the nervousness, right? When he felt the butterflies in the stomach, when he felt the heart rate increasing, how did he interpret that? And he obviously tells us, he's like, oh, that's my comfort zone. That's how I know my body is ramping up to help me perform. And so in baseball, it's the same thing, right? If you start feeling that nervousness, well, that's your body preparing you to go to battle and go to war, right? So instead of interpreting this nervousness and this elevated heart rate as something that's bad and you're trying to control and you're trying to stop it, accept it, and have courage to overcome and perform at your best, and use this as a way of telling yourself, oh, now I'm ready. There's my body telling me I'm ready.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. That's the key, right? To accept it. It's painful, right? It's a lot of that nervous feeling, but you got to just be willing to just let the adrenaline flow and accept that moment, because it's only going to work for you. Ronnie, do you want to define this term that Ronnie, Andy, and I kind of came up with? Just call it mindful courage. If you want to
It's
elaborate on.
absolutely mindful courage. Just awareness of your courage. It's nothing new. It's what we call it, mindful courage, and it's the ability to accept your thoughts in the present moment, whether they're negative or positive. Let's be aware of them, and so we can overcome them and just put them on the back burner. Why is it important? It's the old fight or flight. You allow your adrenaline to work for you, and that's what eliminates the tension working against you. And the essential time, we talk a lot about it. It could be 3 seconds, 5 seconds. We like 5 to 10 seconds before the pitch is coming, and just holding on to that positive cue. And that's what we call it. It's called what we call it a focus cue, a focus phrase, a focus image. I know with a lot of kids that I work with, I talk a lot about a key, and that's what we want to really keep in our brain and keep on our mind. So just remember to accept your thoughts, because they're not going to go away. And you can't just make them disappear. So let your adrenaline take its course, and you trust your ability.
I mean, I like that last little sentence right there. Let that, like I said earlier, let that adrenaline take course, so you can trust your ability in that moment, because else it'll eat you up. We're gonna play you an animation we put together, because Ronnie, Andy, and I have actually started this program called Mindful Player that we've sent out to a couple coaches about the process of hitting, and it's really neat. We'll put it in the link if you guys want to check it out. But this is one of the animations from it, and it's explaining mindful courage, just to give you a little visualization.
Now it's time to commit yourself completely to your focus cue for every pitch. Own your focus cue, protect it, and focus your energy on it. If a distracting thought comes into your mind, accept it, then direct your thinking back to your focus cue. While at bat, it's all that matters. You can only think one thought at a time, so choose your thought. All great hitters believe in their swing, believe in their ability, and believe in their goal while at bat. Choose to believe in yourself by thinking it. All it takes is 5 seconds of courage.
That voice probably sounded familiar. Looked just like Andy too, didn't it? All right, so now to kind of like bring it together, that we talked about the why, whatever, the first session that we did. Then we talked about visualization and how powerful that is, and then we talked about breathing. To me, the best analogy that I can give you is that's just striking your match, right? That's just igniting your potential. Now your fire, right? Your courage is what is going to drive you through, right? But you have to be able to, feed it properly, right? Because if you do, it's going to provide you that comfort. And obviously, like, as a fire, it provides you that excitement as well. So that's like the analogy I like to show, because the courage is really going to come through for you. Let's see. And we talked about other analogies we thought of. We saw this very appropriate image of what happens when you're free falling, like skydiving, right? I've never been. Andy's been a couple times, but it's the adrenaline that's rushing through your body, right? You can see the symptoms or whatever happens to your body physically. The selective hearing, the sweating, tunnel vision, pupil, everything is kind of like, because adrenaline's taken over. But you have to know that you have a lifeline, right? Obviously, your lifeline when you're skydiving is your parachute, right? But like stepping into the batter's box, you have to have a lifeline as your experience is adrenaline. And you have to have the courage to understand. For us, for me personally, is to get back to my focus cue. Yeah, I've had a lot of negative thoughts going through my head, but it's allowing those thoughts, accepting those thoughts, and just say, hey, see the baseball, attack the baseball. Just get back to that, completely accept any other thought, And then if you can do that, it's going to boost your courage in the moment. But if you don't, it's going to be like not even opening your parachute, right? It's going to lock you up, and that's doomsday. So you have to really get back to your focus cue and understand that that's safety for you, that lifeline, to have that positive self-talk to yourself. But the key is preparing for it, right? You can't just jump into the batter's box and just say, oh, yeah, I got courage. You have to prime your courage, right? So Andy's been skydiving, I've been scuba diving, and it just, the adrenaline that you feel is unbelievable. One of my favorite things I've ever done in my life. But they had to give us at least a crash course, or you have to go through a course and get certified in scuba diving. So you got to prime yourself, right? You got to prepare yourself. If you just jump in scuba diving, all that pressure would build up, and it's scary down there. A lot of people panic and they come right to the surface really quick. And if you do that, you got little capillaries that can cause some damage in your brain. So you got to prepare yourself. And we like to use the word prime. And Andy's going to cover exactly what we're talking about when we say priming. Go ahead, Andy.
Yeah, thank you, Adam. So priming your emotions has been found to be really, really effective in helping you perform. So the key here is to know what emotions will help you perform at your best, and then create that emotion to help you perform at your best, right? So for example, if you know that you are going to hit best when you're calm, well, do what you need to do to stay calm in that moment. Like take a deep diaphragmatic breath and focus on your thoughts in that one focus cue that we've referred to. If you know that you hit best when you're angry, then get angry before you go hit. And sometimes it's beneficial to do it prior to the game, right? Before you actually enter. Now, I know some of you are thinking like, okay, in baseball, hitting angry is no good. But it depends on the person, right? There are some people that perform best when they have that emotion. Do most people perform at their best when they're angry? No. But I'm sure there's some people out there, because we're all different, and different types of emotions help different types of people. And then lastly, if you know that you hit best when you're excited, then get excited. And Adam and I talked quite a bit about this, how some players really need to be calm before they hit. And Adam was one of those guys who felt like he needed to get excited, right? He needed that energy while he was hitting, but he had teammates who were calm as day, that were calmness was what helped them hit. So it really just depends, and you need to know yourself so you can know what type of emotions will help you perform at your best.
And I think that's the key, is knowing yourself, right? Obviously, you're looking at Derek Jeter right now. What better example to prime yourself for a big situation?
Adam, can I add something on that?
Yeah, Ronnie, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most powerful thing that we're talking about tonight, is just having the ability and the awareness to self-reflect and to self-assess. Exactly what Andy just said. And I think it can be trial and error, for younger kids, but as you start getting older, you get a pretty good understanding. So it's a challenge for you to be aware and just have that sense of awareness of yourself, because it's powerful when you know yourself this way, and you can prepare yourself. And a lot of times it just takes time, and it takes at bats and years, but very powerful.
Man, thank you, Ronnie. That's fantastic stuff, man. And just to give you guys, like, from me, a little bit more insight, well, to you guys, about my experience. And going back to like what Will Smith said, you got to be willing and believe in it so much that you would die for it. But I know it's extreme, and maybe that's just the way I prime myself. But the tough thing for me to accept is that I did that when I was in a sense of urgency, when I felt like I might be getting sent down to AAA from the major leagues. So like back in 2008, 2016, I was on the edge. of losing a job, right? So I remember how I would prime myself, especially in 2016. I would sit in front of my locker listening to calming music, but I would get my adrenaline up. It would look like I was calm. Everybody around me didn't know what I was doing, but I would get so fired up inside. My adrenaline was like pumping, and I was saying, I am going down, and I'm doing my best here, through and through. I'm playing this game like it's my last game. I'm willing to die right here, basically. I'm going in. And it built that adrenaline up. Great. I pumped myself up, but I kept that fire burning, that courage burning all the way into my at-bats. And now when I got to my at-bat, I was already primed. I was already feeling that feeling. And it was familiar to me, and it was almost like I was in a flow state of mind and I was more successful when I did that. I wish I would have done that like all the time, but obviously that takes a lot of discipline, takes a lot of time, takes a lot of dedication. But obviously really passionate about the courage that you need to have in those last, especially 5-10 seconds when you're standing there, especially in a big game situation. So what we want to do now, we like walking you guys through exercises, right? So last week we had Andy walk through the breathing exercise, was super beneficial. We're going to walk you through, and we walked you through a script before, but this time we're going to use the cues, and we want you guys to pick out the moment where that mindful courage comes in. We won't say it, but you'll recognize it in your mind. It'll take like 2 minutes. I'm going to walk us through this, okay? So here we go. I'm going to give you a situation. And it's going to be like you're hitting the ball. This would be like you practicing. You hitting the ball off a tee, okay? So the situation is you're leading off the inning early in the game, and you're facing a right-handed pitcher. So standing outside your batter's box, focus, reset, and bring yourself back to the present moment. All right, now close your eyes and visualize your approach. What does the ball look like out of the pitcher's hand? And how will you set the tone for the inning? All right, now when I say ready, you're going to take one mindful breath with your eyes still closed. Okay, ready? You're going to use your stomach to breathe in, breathe out. Ready? Breathe in, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4. Now pay attention to your detailed image of success. Can you see the ball backspin into the gap as you set the tone for the inning? All right, now open your eyes, step into your batter's box, get into your stance, and make sure you keep your body loose. Now, repeat your focus cue. And this is that simple word or phrase that keeps you locked in on the task at hand. And pay attention to your focus cue as you stay relaxed. Now, regardless of self-doubt, accept your thoughts as you trust your focus cue. Look at the right-handed pitcher, envision where the pitcher's release point will be, and pay attention to your focus cue. All right, here comes the windup and the pitch. Swing. Did you drive the ball to the middle of the field? If you did, excellent job. But if you didn't, just make sure you focus on it for this next swing that we take. And we would take another swing, but tonight, that's just the process. Just introducing you guys to a process that Ronnie, Andy, and I have really put together. And you kind of recognize that moment of courage. It's simple, it's subtle, but you have to have it though. With that said, we're going to open it up for a discussion, questions, comments. Let me get but first, hold on. If you guys want to put that in the chat box, it'd be great. Or if you guys want to just unmute yourself. But first, we're going to do a poll. We haven't done this yet. Should be exciting. I'm going to ask you 2 questions. First one is, which comes first, confidence or success? And the second one is going to be, what comes first, having fun or playing at your peak performance? So I'm going to let you guys answer that. You guys see the questions? So what comes first, confidence or success? Love it. Great. And what comes first, having fun or playing at your peak performance? Like it. This is cool.
Oh, you get to see the answers, huh?
Oh, you don't see the answers?
I don't see them.
Oh, man, that's a bummer.
This will be good.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll give you, so we got about 10 more people that need to vote, whatever. And for the first one, well, I shouldn't say because I wouldn't want to skew anybody. This is great. This is gonna be a good, because we're gonna
Give
open
them
it up.
a second to all answer.
And I kind of want to hear what you guys have to say before what we discussed. Oh, we got about 10 more people. I'll wait about 30 more seconds to see if these 10 more people have enough courage to put their answer in.
I love it.
All right, we'll give you guys 10 more seconds. All right, I'm going to end the polling, and it should show you the results. You guys see the results?
Yeah.
Majority. Yeah.
Wow.
So is anybody brave enough?
Wow.
Yeah. Is anybody brave enough? Let's go confidence first. Anybody that chose confidence, and explain to us, teach us something.
We'll see. Should we speak up? Should we do it?
Okay.
Let's do it.
Let's do
it.
Talk yourself right into it. Love
Okay.
it.
No, I think the biggest thing when you put those up is, for me, confidence is visualizing something, right? So the success for me at least, and we were talking about, is the recipe is visualizing it and embodies with that confidence is that first step.
Cool. All right. That's a solid remark.
Love
Tommy, thank you so much. It's awesome, man. And that's the majority of what people said was confidence comes first. And then you're going to be successful. Anybody want to share why they think success comes first? You got 11% of people said success comes first.
I'll jump in, Rosie, because I was the one that said success.
Yeah.
So the way that I think about it is I have to put myself in a successful situation. It's a small thing, like Will Smith talked about, those building blocks, those small building blocks. Find something that I'm successful at, so that the more success that I have, the more confidence I am building up into myself and into my brain. So that was the way I looked at it. I think I looked at success not as being this huge successful thing of making it to the big leagues. It was more, hey, let me succeed at this at bat, or let me succeed at this. So then I'm able to create that confidence from there. So that's the way I looked at it.
That's a solid explanation. Kevin, thank you so much, man. All right, anybody, this is getting lower and lower. Anybody said equal?
So I said equal.
All right, Brady.
So I said, so if you have confidence, it breeds success. And then when you have success, it breeds confidence. So they're interchangeable.
Okay, so they're interchangeable. All right, these are all solid remarks. And I wish you guys could have been in the conversation that Andy, Ronnie, and I had. Who's the
somebody said the last answer.
Yeah, who said that? Was that Ronnie? Ronnie, did you do that?
Yeah, that was me. Yeah. Sorry. I was like this. I didn't want to push it, but.
All right. Well, and the same thing goes. We'll come back to that. Same thing goes to have fun, right? So it looks like the same kind of, just like confidence was the most, have fun, and then you play at your best, right? And probably going to be the same explanations. Ronnie, I'm going to let you deliver this.
Okay. I'm going to do it short and sweet, and then you elaborate.
All right.
It doesn't matter because it's all in your mind. It's all in your mind. And what we create, what things we build up. Well, I've got to have confidence before I have success. I've got to be successful, and then my confidence comes. It's all portrayed in your mind, because we can be as successful as we want to be in our mind, but it's the way we approach it and the way we stay in the moment. And the more we stay in the moment, that's what helps us clear our mind to get in that position to go do what we want to do. Too many times we're in the past with frustration, we're in the future with anxiety. Let's bring it back here. Now we can stay in the moment and we go to work and do our thing. And it sounds easy. It's the hardest thing to do, but it's something that gives you ammo to go do what you want to do.
Ronnie nailed it. And it just, the main thing is you control the moment, right? That's what you have to buy into. That's what everything else is great. Confidence is great. Success is great. Having fun is great. Playing at your peak performance is great. But the constant is buying into that moment. And that's all that's what really drives home that idea of having that courage in that moment to accept all that adrenaline, all that pain or whatever, that uncomfortable feeling, and just let it happen in the moment. And things will happen. No matter what the result. Who cares what the result is? And that's what Andy, you got anything to add? You look like you want to say something.
Yeah, I'll chirp in too. There's going to be times playing the game or any type of performance where you don't have confidence and you might not have success, right? Like you might be on a team where you're just not winning, or maybe you're on even a winning team, but you're not batting well, and you don't have either. So who cares? Like, who cares about those things? Those are things of the past. All that matters is about the moment. And all that matters when you're hitting is the focus cue and your thoughts in that exact moment. Because everything else in the future or in the past doesn't matter, which is success or failure or having fun or not, right? All those things are things of the past or things of the future. So who cares? All that matters is that very moment. And success and fun and everything else we listed, it doesn't matter.
See, and that's awesome. And I never was really able to define that. And now thinking about it right now, I think about one of my favorite hitting coaches in AAA, Smokey Garrett, Adrian Garrett. I'm not sure if you guys know. One of my favorite guys. Well, and I was struggling bad. And a lot of people helped me that year in 2008, and that's when I broke into the major leagues for the first time. But what he told me, and what he meant was stay in the moment. But he said, Adam, you got to forget it. He used different terminology. No, I'm not gonna. But he said, you said, forget it. You're hitting $180. Accept it. It's a terrible place to be in June. Accept it. Just forget about it and go hit a triple today. And I bought it. The thing is, you got to buy into it. I said, and I love Smokey Garrett for that now. And I did it, and lo and behold, that night I hit a triple off the right center wall. And it's just the power of that. Like that, and that's just one story, but he cared enough about me as a coach. I mean, as a player, to deliver that message, to come to that point where it's like, just accept it already. I don't know how else to say it, and it's just being in that moment. But I get fired up in case you guys couldn't tell. You guys, we would love to hear from you. Ben, you made a comment about like the pitcher's perspective. Are you mean like, could it relate to the pitcher's perspective or?
Yeah, we don't have I don't know. Do we have any pitchers on here? It's got to be some. But I know some of the younger guys. Yeah, I could say, well, as you progress through your career and you go from high school to college, or if you're lucky enough to play pro ball, the higher you go, the less relevant your stuff is. So there are other things that you need to be good at to get guys out. And one of the things you could do is counteract with we're talking about right here as a pitcher. And confidence is a huge part of it. I could sense a lack of confidence in a hitter every time I stepped on the mound, and it was frustrating for me if I couldn't throw a strike to him. And at times that happens, and I can even watch that on TV in a big league game and say, there is no way this guy can get this hitter out. And as a pitcher, you need to be able to pick up on things from a hitter, how they approach the box. Do they have approach? Do they have a pre-at-bat approach to set their mind straight? Are they just jumping in the box? I want a guy that's running in the box and acting like he's going to crush a ball. That's an easy out for me. A guy that's relaxed like Rosie, Will Clark, somebody like him, very tough out. You don't know how to get to him.
No, that's awesome, man. And actually hearing from like the catcher's perspective too is we had Eric Kratz on a couple months ago, and it was pretty amazing how he said he knew when a hitter was confident or knew like when he was on, he could read their like body language, and he knew exactly what he wanted to throw to that hitter just because of the way he carried himself into the batter's box. And I'm sure pitchers pick up the same thing. As a hitter looking out to a pitcher, I'm like, this guy's in trouble. Like, it's the first inning, guy hit he gets stunned because someone hits a double off of him, and you can just watch his body language, and you can just see how out of the moment he is, and how like he just can't control that adrenaline. And I'm winning. I'm going to win that at bat. I have a lot more confidence goes into me, but you can tell like when a pitcher is not. You just got to read the body language. Let's see, Tommy.
Wait, I was gonna say that like as a pitcher in regards to the confidence and success thing, like how you were just saying, like say the first batter hits a double off you, if you're relying on success to make you confident, then what are you gonna do in the eyes of failure? So I think it's really important to make sure that confidence is really good, because if you just get your confidence based on your success, you won't be able to handle failure.
100%. I mean, that's one of the C's, right? That Coach Beauprez gave me: confidence, courage, concentration. Right? Confidence is so important. It's the way that inner self-confidence. And not only just for you, but for your teammates as well. Like how contagious that is. Let's see, I'm trying to read Tommy's
I think the tricky part is, I was just going to say the tricky part with confidence is that when you don't have it, then what do you do? Right? So as a pitcher, when everybody's getting hits, then what? Or as a batter, you keep striking out, right? And so when I was saying that like confidence doesn't matter, yeah, it doesn't in regards to when you don't have evidence, or when you aren't playing very well, or you're not having success, then what do you do? Because all you have is your thoughts. So that's why we were really focusing in on, okay, let's create a thought that will help you stay in the moment.
Oh. It's the Hawaii internet. Is that Andy's breaking up, right?
Yeah.
We're gonna mute him.
Hey, you know what, Rosie? I want to add something. I thought about this. One of the most talented guys I was ever around, and you were around him, was Joey Votto.
Yeah.
And he said something to me profound one time. It was really amazing, because he was going through a struggle, and so I always wanted to know what he was thinking, and he didn't give it out too much. But one day he told me, he goes, all I got to do is keep showing up. He goes, because I'm one swing or I'm one thought away from getting back on track. And I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. That's half the battle. I said that one time somebody asked me to, come and speak to their team or something back in Chicago. And I said, the number one thing is you got to show up. And they're like, what? Like, can you say anything else? I'm like, I just want to walk up the stage. All you got to do is show up. And that's half the battle. Andy's still
trying to go.
Still chirping. Billy, I'm Billy Gernon, head coach at Western Michigan. I'm interested to hear, like at the college level, this how the mental game. Like if you see this, could you read body language, and then you watch a game on TV? Is it a big difference watching from your perspective? Like
No, I don't think so. I will tell you, Rosie, as I've been listening to this, I'm in my early 50s, and when I played in the Big Ten, and my coach used a big C word too, and it was compete, and he would scream compete. And as I've been sitting here listening to this, is that more relatable to courage, or is compete more related to focus cue? Or do they overlap, and Ronnie was talking about fight or flight. And when people fight, it's about compete, because somebody's going down. And I'm still a little bit of an old school advocate on, being prepared when you get in the box, but that the focus, that your tunnel vision is competing, that the preparation's gone into the video training and understanding the scouting report on what you're going to see. But at the end of the day, it's the greatest one-on-one matchup in sports next to boxing. And I think the courage is critical. I think the confidence is critical, but I'm just kind of an old school where I think just compete and out-compete the other person. I think it parallels being more confident than the other person, however you want to look at it. But Rosie, I do think with the analytics and the resources that are there for the professional athlete, I do think that the mental approach is probably at a higher level than it is at the amateur level, just because of the resources that are limited. But our associate head coach and hitting coach is on this as well. And I think he would share that with me, but it's just it's a different game. You watch the pro game and you can tell like hitters are looking for something particular only to hit, where I think there's a lot more tremendous focus, and maybe I'm wrong in your guys' eyes, at the amateur level, that we want to fight like hell with 2 strikes. We're going to spoil and flick and fight, and we're going to do everything we can to build pitch count and all that. And but I don't know if I really answered what you were looking for, but I appreciate you asking me.
Yeah, no. I mean, I like how you said compete. I think about compete not just when you're actually in the box, like like finding your focus cue, but I'm saying you got to compete. That's what we talk about priming. You got to compete before the game even starts. Else you're going to be especially at the higher level. The higher you go up, I think Ronnie alluded to, like, you get weeded out because you got to compete. For me, I was going to mention in both 2008 and 2016, when I was about out, sent back to AAA, whatever, I started playing games in the cage. Smokey Garrett was great. I mean, I would hit I would have to hit 5 line drives off the back of the net in early work before I can leave the cage, off the tee. And I got so good at it that I competed with myself, that I had that adrenaline going. And now I prime myself. I go into the game. I know I've already felt this before. And same thing in Cincinnati with Alan Zinter, another great hitting coach. We played all these different games. We played like 5 games every day before, and it primed me to compete. So Billy, that's awesome, man. Like, but I just
kind of like you got to hit the last shot before you can go in and eat, right?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's right. And sometimes I didn't eat. Sometimes the other guys got to the spread before. Good stuff. Yeah, but I had a hitting coach that wouldn't let me get that last one in though. Ryan Jackson. Ronnie and I know Ryan Jackson really well. He's the farm director for the Boston Red Sox now. But he said, "Don't tell me last one. Don't ever tell me this is the last one coming out of the batting cage. Just whenever you're good, you're good."
Love it.
But that's good stuff. So anybody have any comments? We'd love to hear from questions or. Ronnie, did you ever have a guy that you really had to work on this with him, or you wouldn't buy into it?
As far as what now? I'm sorry. I was looking.
Like buying into that courage, that being in the moment, that mentality.
Yeah.
Like, you deal with a lot of guys.
Yeah. I think it's tough because you get kids, everybody's different, and you just try to find that one edge that you can get with them. Some kids may be more a mechanical thought, and that's what leads to them feeling good. Others need to just, relax and breathe, and others need to just flat out clear their mind. So I think it's always a battle with whatever age you're at, and obviously the guys that are playing at the highest level, they've done it more, so they're disciplined more, and they've got a better habit to it. So a lot of the kids that I work with, they'll take 5 swings and they'll forget what they were thinking about, and it's just trying to bring them back to that. We talked about practice, and showing kids how to practice, and I think this is the biggest thing, is from the mental standpoint, is helping kids understand how to practice their mental game while they're hitting off the tee, while they're taking BP. How are you going to practice your mental game and not so much the mechanics? And I think it's a challenge for pretty much every kid, in my opinion.
Well, how come? Why is it such a challenge, though? Why it should just?
I think today's kid, just because of the instant result, of technology, and just getting guys to just keep working and get to that answer. They get frustrated after 3 swings if they don't hit 2 line drives, and it's like, well, you got to keep going, you got to keep fighting through it. And I like how Billy said it, and that, in a sense, that's competing against yourself. Let's get over that hump and find that whatever it is inside of you to overcome that frustration, and let's get back to work and do what you need to do.
100%, really well said, Ronnie. And I see there's a lot of young baseball players here. There's a couple. If you guys want to speak up, would love to hear from you guys, because you guys are in it. You guys are on the front lines right now. Would love to hear like this. If you've ever felt that moment of courage, what we define as mindful courage. Like, if you guys have an example where you're just like, you know what, forget it. I am sticking to what I know. I'm trusting my stuff. I'm trusting my ability to come through for the team right here. And you just you get locked in, and you know you're going to succeed. Have anybody of you guys had that, that moment, or you work for that moment, you practice that moment? It take a lot of courage. And I think, Ben, are you trying to talk? I wasn't sure.
No, I said call on Brady.
No, I'm not going to call anybody out.
I'll explain. So I just started playing for Coach Pierce this fall, and I was in a little bit of a slump. So towards the end of the year, I just went back to a 2-strike approach and just did what I know, and just watch ball, see ball, hit ball. That's all I tried to do, and it worked for me, and I started hitting a lot better, and that was kind of my experience.
So tell them about the bunt.
Which one?
First time we ever played. First game you ever played for me.
Oh, Coach.
The squeeze situation.
So yeah, it was a tie ball game in the championship, and Coach calls me down to third base. He says, "Do you want a suicide here, or do you think you can get him in?" I told Coach, I think I can get him in. And next thing you know, I did. I hit the ball right to the second baseman and scored that run.
Nice.
Just put him in that situation. And you made him say, that's awesome. You made him say it.
That's what it was.
I'm going to get it done. And boom. I'm telling you got to buy into that. Brady, I was going to ask.
Adam.
Yeah. Andy?
Can I weigh in? Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's a prime example of there's times when you don't have confidence. And so what do you do in that situation? And I think, like, after really understanding how performance works and studying it, confidence, in my opinion, just doesn't really matter. And the reason is because if you don't have confidence, you should, whether you have confidence or you don't, whether you're feeling really good or feeling really bad, those are just feelings. So if you can have a process that puts you in the moment, that's going to be a lot more valuable, because you're focused on the process and you're staying in the moment versus worrying about whether you have confidence or no confidence, or whether you're worried about success or not success. Because in the moment, if you are there and very present, not thinking about anything in the future or past, that's where your chances of success are going to increase.
Yeah, thank you, Andy. It's good, man. I was gonna ask again, like going back to Brady's, like you talked yourself into it, into getting the job done. And I know a lot of young players, they get together, 2 or 3 of them are like, hey, we're facing the top, he's top 3 in the state. This guy's got late life on his fastball. This guy's probably gonna go play at top D1 school, or he's getting drafted. Do you guys ever talk like that, like these young players on tonight? Do you guys kind of like talk yourself out of it? Are you guys ever guilty of that?
Hey Adam, I have a story to tell.
Jason,
my name's Adam as well.
Oh,
I'm an outfielder for Coach Ben on his 2022 Mid-Atlantic team.
Awesome.
And I have a similar story. When I first joined him and his team, I was so worried about impressing him and impressing the teammates. And I struggled at the plate for a decent amount throughout the fall. But then when I got closer to the team and closer to Ben, this summer I started producing, and that whole confidence thing really played a big part in, how I performed at the plate. And there's been some instances where we faced pitchers, like you said, that are committed to here and committed to here. And one game I remember we were facing like a Florida State pitcher. And I was like, oh, this dude's committed to Florida State, whatever. And since I had that in my head, I was like, I struggled at the plate, but then, I was like, guys, we need to get that out of our head and, go up there and just do what we know how to do.
That's awesome, man. Adam, thanks so much for sharing. Like against guys like that, first of all, if you guys ever find yourself in a conversation like that, get out of it, right? Because those are the guys you want to face. Those are the guys that you got nothing to lose on. Like that's the ones that you get to exercise. It's just like the fire analogy, right? You guys actually get to try, you get to kindle your fire. You got to keep on feeding it. And that's how you feed it, is by facing guys like that, not by talking them up. They're human. Their fastballs, they're not that good. That's what I always say. They're like, they got to get over the plate. You got to talk yourself into it, like Brady's situation and Jason or Adam, how you shared. But again,
I went down to Georgia this past summer, and we faced a team full of commits to Mississippi State, and they were only 15, and we were the 16U bracket, so it was like sort of intimidating. But then, like, when we got there, they were all cocky and whatnot. We ended up blowing them out like 6-0. But it's like we just went in that mindset that just because they're committed doesn't mean they're any more of a better baseball player than we are, and that 100%. Was like one of the biggest things.
Love it. Yeah, it's fun facing those guys. The adrenaline should go way up. And if you don't feel your heart beating during that time, then you're just too scared, or you're not prepared for it. You're not facing your courage then, when you should be. Like those are the best moments, because it doesn't just it's just not on the baseball field, guys. This is real life stuff. And that's the thing that we all that's what we understand. I apply this off the field, probably more often than I do on the field. But anyway, if anybody else has anything to say or comments, we love. Ben,
yeah, one thing I wanted to ask Coach Gernon, I as a D1 coach, maybe talk to these guys a little bit about your perspective, and when you come and see a game, that it's more than just the weak exterior, that maybe a velocity or your batting average is not that relevant, and what you're looking for and how the player carries himself with confidence, attitude, willing to compete at the plate, and how much more that is, or how much that is important in your process?
Well, this might shock some of you, but I'm looking for a great teammate before I'm looking for any skill set. I'm looking for a great teammate that's coachable. And we can do a lot of things with those types of guys because our focus here is on the culture and the culture of our locker room that transitions into the dugout, that transitions onto the field. We've passed on some high velocity guys, some high talent guys that we know will be disruptors in our locker room. So we want highly academic, conscientious guys. We want high recommendations from peers that are around those people. And when we go out to watch, I'm watching for helmet throwers and temper tantrums and guys that won't give me a hard 90. I'm looking for a fierce competitor, and then we're digging for great teammates that we know that fit here, Ben. But at the same time, we're also looking for strike throwers, good sliders, guys that hit into their front side with backspin. We're looking for those tools as well. But I would take a great teammate with a great work ethic that fights and competes and puts his teammates before himself with average talent before I would take somebody with great talent that does none of those four mentioned things.
Perfect. Thanks.
That's awesome.
Somebody like Adam Rosales, to be quite honest with you.
Really, thank you.
Seriously, Rosie's the most humble guy you'll ever meet, but he could be arguably the best role model that's ever played professional sports.
Really, thank you, man. Really, truly.
Love it.
Well,
you don't know what to say, Adam.
No, I don't know how to handle that. I just don't.
That's awesome, man. It don't get any better than that,
congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
that's awesome.
Just appreciate it, especially coming from Billy. A lot of respect for what he does and at Western Michigan. I never know what to say when people give me such a compliment.
That says it all. What you're doing right now says it all.
All right. So we'll move on now. If anybody has any more comments or questions, and you guys can always reach out to us. We love being a resource. We've loved doing this. We hope we get to restructure something. We do it in the new year sometime, maybe in February, March. But
Bryce, how did I get that? See who's all on here?
Bryce, you want to get something? Anyway, Bryce might have had to say something. But yeah, what we've learned, honestly, like over the last three months that I've been working with Ronnie and Andy together, I've grown immensely. I grow the most by doing it. Like as a ball player, I'd get out there and go play winter ball, or when I was in college, I'd go play summer ball. That's where I learned the most by doing it. And I guess like this is almost like doing it, like learning from you guys, letting you guys get your perspective. But I don't know. I really enjoy it, and hopefully get to do it again soon. I put that link in. If you guys are interested in what Ronnie, Andy, and I are doing right now, the link is mindfulplayer.thinkific.com. The landing page is a little messed up, but if you guys want to go check it out, it's really neat. Different kind of perspective of training, like doing it in real time. Ronnie, Andy, you guys can close it up.
Yeah, I appreciate, all the feedback. Appreciate you, Adam and Andy. Like I said earlier, I've learned so much from you guys, and, hopefully that's the message we're sending to everyone on here is, keep your mind open and just keep learning. Doesn't matter how young or how old you are, you can always get better at whatever you're doing, and just, keep the motivation to want to keep learning and trying new things, and hope this helped a lot.
Yeah. Just real quick, thank you for everyone on here. Hopefully we can do some more in the future, and this was a great conversation. Thank you very much.
No. All right, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Stay in touch.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Thank you, guys.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.